Coming up on Network Africa, Zimbabwean citizens stay at home amid fears of planned demonstrations that could turn violent. Presidents Abdelmadjid Tebboune and Emmanuel Macron commit to enhancing bilateral cooperation between Algeria and France. Plus, outrage in Somalia as missing 8-year-old girl is found married to an older man. Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin in Zimbabwe, where a national protest that was meant to pressure Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa to resign turned into a shutdown of the capital, Harare. Citizens opted to stay away rather than take to the streets. Most businesses, offices and schools in the capital, Harare and Bulawayo, were shut down amid fears of unrest and amid a heavy security presence. Only a handful of protesters took part in the planned march that was spearheaded by a group of disgruntled war veterans who have accused President Mnangagwa of corruption and wanting to cling on to power. However, they were dispersed by the police. President Mnangagwa became president in 2017 following a coup against longtime leader, the late Robert Mugabe, and is currently serving his second and final term. In Zambia, the president, Hakainde Hichilema, has warned ministers against dozing off during meetings, attributing their lack of attentiveness to indulgence and an absence of self-control. President Hichilema said this during a swearing-in ceremony for a new minister. He did not exactly spell out what he meant by indulgence, but local media is interpreting this as referring to excessive alcohol drinking and late-night partying. The president warns that such behavior risks exposing the state secrets and delayed service delivery to the public. President Hichilema won a landslide victory in 2021 with his plans to turn around the economy of Africa's second-largest copper producer. Since assuming office, he has sacked several senior officials, including ministers, over performance issues. He was speaking on Monday, even as he welcomed newly appointed local government minister Gift Sialuvalo. The president said he has now gone public with his concerns about cabinet members after saying it in private over and over. To bilateral relations now, French President Emmanuel Macron and Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune have agreed during a phone call to revitalize their bilateral relationship. Following months of tension, this renewed partnership is expected to lead to a resumption of security and migration cooperation, as stated in a joint communique released. President Macron and Algerian President Tebboune agreed during a phone conversation to change their bilateral relations, and this is following months of tension. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to re-establish productive dialogue that they initiated with the Algerian declaration in August 2022, which had previously resulted in significant gestures regarding historical memory. The family of a Kenyan police officer, Benedict Kabiru, is pleading for answers after an anti-gang MSS mission was ambushed in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. According to this police officer's mother, officials notified her of an ambush on last week that led to her son's disappearance. His brother, Philip Kamau, had expressed hope that the missing officer, who was part of the Kenyan contingent in Haiti, was alive and was going to be rescued. However, the Haitian government disclosed that the police officer had been killed by suspected gang members while carrying out a multinational security support mission last week. This follows the death of Samuel Katuai, that was the first Kenyan peacekeeper to lose his life in the ongoing mission in Haiti. Officer Katuai was fatally wounded in February during an operation against armed gangs in the Artibonite region.
I personally, first of all, I was traumatized to hear the news, to see the videos, to see the comments that people that are light teens are saying on the media, and yet they don't have the full information about my brother. As a family, we are not stable, because even the sleep, to see the sleep, it is not possible. You start eating, you feel like you don't eat. And our hope and our feelings is my brother is alive, and he's alive, and he's going to be rescued and come back home alive. He's the hope of our family.
Still in Kenya, Kisumu Young Agripreneurs KIA, a group of innovative farmers from the western region, has revolutionized the farming sector by turning to black soldier fly (BSF) production to create fertilizers and natural feed for livestock in the region. Employees at the BSF farm are seen dealing with the BSF larvae, from sorting them out in their hatching nets to filtering them of the feeding materials and collecting frass. Livestock and poultry owners were also seen feeding animals on BSF larvae. The utilization of BSF in the farming industry, according to the KIA members, can not only become a food resource for animals and fertilizers, but also enrich the soil and help combat climate change. Farm owners, meanwhile, acknowledge that the use of this larva as food for animals helps the livestock to grow healthier and faster, which in the long term provides higher incomes and employment sustainability for farmers.
Most farmers can't predict how or when will it rain. So with the black soldier fly, it helps the farmer or the world as a whole to fight the climate change. Two, we have what we call the frass. It helps the farmers to produce organic fertilizers, which they are going to use in the farm. If you feed the soil, you will improve the soil structure. That's number one. The second, you will increase the microbial activities in the soil. The third one, you will improve on the soil water holding capacity. So these are the several aspects of the soil fertility that the black soldier fly or organic fertilizer or the frass help us in maybe regenerating our soils within the country. It's very high in protein, which is a very good supplement for the feeds, for fish, for chicken, and also maybe for pigs. So that is why we opt for the remains of the black soldier fly.
There is outrage in Somalia after an 8-year-old girl who had been missing for 6 months was found living with a woman who had said she was her husband. The girl was reported missing by her family in the semi-autonomous region of Puntland last September. Months later, it emerged the girl's father had consented to her to be married to an adult named Sheikh Mahmoud. Security forces surrounded the man's house last week, forcing their way in after he locked himself in the room with the girl. The incident has sparked anger on social media and public protests in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. It has also prompted fresh debates about child protection laws in the country, as currently there is no minimum legal age for marriage in Somalia. And in Malawi, the Chikwawa school is making biogas for cost saving. A rural school in that region has turned to biogas to provide free meals, cut dependency on traditional firewood, and even boost attendance. Workers collect cow dung used for biogas production, drawing water for further processing, and mixing waste in a biodigester to produce fuel. Volunteer cooks can be seen preparing the meals as students also queue for their food. Head teacher Winstead Moto says the use of biogas has significantly reduced cooking time, enabling volunteer school cooks to start their shifts later. The community is also benefiting from organic fertilizers, a byproduct of the biogas process, which boosts crop yields as chemical fertilizer prices are surging.
It started 9 months ago. After that, we see it with that it was very good and it is very effective. Because, for example, as we were using the firewood, it was late. And some of the cooks were coming something past 1, that is 1 a.m. But due to the introduction of this biogas, they are now coming something past 4.
We'll take a break now on the program, still to come. A colorful Eid al-Fitr Durbar Gala Night is hosted by the Katsina state government in Nigeria. Please join us again. Welcome back to the program. We continue with one of our leading stories for today, a national protest that was to hold in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, although there was a low turnout. Joining us now for more on this is Zimbabwean journalist Nigel Yamutumbu in the capital, Harare. Hello, Nigel. Thank you for joining us.
Greetings. It's a pleasure being here.
We understand there was a low turnout to the protest that had been scheduled since last week. What is the current situation of things at this time?
Yeah, the taunted protest yesterday turned into a national shutdown instead of the intended protest, as it were. The intention of those that were behind or sponsoring the drive for citizens to take to the streets in protest in a demonstration of some sort was not heeded. Instead, the thousands of urban workers and of the generality of the population, be they vendors, businesses, across the length and breadth of the country, stayed at home, which a political development in itself of note, at least on 3 levels. First, the economic impact thereof of the national shutdown. Secondly, the political connotations of why citizens stayed at home. Was it in fear of the protest turning violent? Was it an absence and lack of trust in the Zimbabwe Republic Police, who had assured them of their safety, or was it in solidarity with the war veterans that had called for this particular protest? That is yet really to be figured out. But my sense is it's a combination of all 3 factors, and therefore this is something that President Mnangagwa should take cognizance and take seriously into consideration, and perhaps it also speaks to how Zimbabwe is a political hotbed at the moment.
Yes, indeed, Nigel. Tell us more about the reason for this protest, the reason behind the war veterans scheduling this protest.
It's basically factional. The reasons are that they are opposed to one faction of the ruling party that has openly is calling for the President Mnangagwa's extension of his presidential term, and that are also, in competing with one faction that is behind his deputy, General Chiwenga, who is touted as among the successors of President Mnangagwa. So it's basically a succession issue that is at hand, that is at play as to who within the ruling party, within ZANU-PF. Yes, of course, there are some factors that are finding resonance and where they could be of convergence with civic society, with churches, and with the generality of citizens. Factors, say, opposed to the amendments to the Constitution, which would be required if President Mnangagwa's term is to be extended, the question around corruption, which indeed has really crippled the country to virtually its knees, the question of a declining standard of living, and Zimbabwe being a de facto failed state. So all of the factors that are being packaged by these war veterans in calling for the protest do find expression in the people of Zimbabwe, who indeed are faced with these current challenges on a day-to-day basis. But insofar as their real cause and the real challenge, it's definitely something that is internal to ZANU-PF, and which is probably why the people had their own passive resistance to the status quo in Zimbabwe, as opposed to heeding the call by war veterans who, in all intents and purposes, are addressing an internal ruling party issue on the succession issue and on whether the Constitution should be amended or not. So it's politics, but it is also something that has really reverberated around and across the length and breadth of the country, to the extent that it is indeed something that the ruling elite, President Mnangagwa in particular, should take into cognizance.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Nigel Yamutumbu, Zimbabwean journalist in Harare. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
Well, the Eid al-Fitr celebrations continue here in Nigeria. Major fun spots in the nation's capital, Abuja, witnessed a high turnout during the Eid al-Kabir celebration. Despite economic challenges facing the country, fun seekers trooped to popular recreational centers to mark the festive occasion. A visit to several well-known fun parks, usually a beehive of activities during such celebrations, revealed large crowds enjoying the holiday spirit. Our correspondent, Benny Ark, reports.
A visit to the Millennium Park in the nation's capital witnesses a high turnout of fun seekers during the Eid al-Kabir celebration, with many describing the scene as a remarkable improvement compared to previous years. The presence of law enforcement officers was also noticed with the aim to ensure the safety of all. Dressed in traditional attires, these fun seekers are seen making their way into the park and seated in their numbers. Some fun seekers are grateful to have witnessed another Eid al-Kabir, despite the economic challenges.
Everyone knows that the economy is really affecting the celebration. But if we are to say because for the economy, in fact, we cannot be able to come out of the house. But because we have Allah, everything is very possible and okay for us.
Last celebration, prices of commodities was not this high. But this year's celebration, the price is a no-go area for some people because there's much hardship.
If not because of God, nobody will be here. But we thank God that even the hardship of the nation, we are still able to come out to celebrate with families and friends. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
They also gave a word of advice to the government on alleviating the sufferings of the masses.
The things are hard. We are all facing it, but I hope it gets better. And I hope the president does something about some of these things
to improve, to work hard, to see how they can create opportunity for people to have a place to work, then they reduce the security that is in the country generally, then see how they boost on the work on the economy generally.
The Secretary, Command and Control Center, Federal Capital Territory Administration, who was present at the park in company of other law enforcement agents, addresses the security concern.
You can see visibility, policing everywhere. You can see the traffic management team from the Directorate of Road Traffic Services and other traffic management services on ground, ensuring that the traffic flow and the law enforcement in maintaining security of lives and property.
Moving to the popular Magic Land amusement park, the story is no different, as the park also had more fun seekers trooping in. While some fun seekers say this year's celebration is far better than the previous year, others share a contrary view.
This year is more better than last year. Yes, from my own side. But this is open for me than last year.
We're hoping that the policies that this administration is bringing forward will ease out the pains and the sufferings of everyone in the country so that things can get better for everybody.
This Salah celebration will come and go, but Nigerians are asking for the alleviation of the current hardship being experienced and for the improvement of their standard of living by the Tinubu administration. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
Well, still in Nigeria, Muslim faithful in Katsina State, in the northwest region, have commemorated this year's Eid al-Fitr Salah festival with colorful cultural display poised to open more doors for future partnerships and investment opportunities. The aim was to mark the end of the sacred month of Ramadan, a period dedicated to fasting, prayer, reflection and service to humanity. This year's celebration attracted the European Union ambassador to Nigeria, Otie Mino, alongside 9 other ambassadors and their wives, which could be termed as a historic milestone.
The stage is set for the Katsina State Traditional Durbar Cultural Festival, popularly called Hawan Bariki. The event, which is celebrated twice in the year, attracts thousands of people from within and outside the state and the country at large. This year's celebration hosts several foreign diplomats and their spouses, with hopes of exploring possible investments and partnerships along the lines of the state's rich cultural heritage.
This has traditionally been a very good tradition, and our government is trying all it could to ensure that we have maintained that standard and we are able to promote it so that that will give happiness to our people.
The essence of the Durbar, which kicks off from the Katsina Emir's house and terminates at the Katsina Old Government House, is to pay Salah homage to the governor. Besides the richly attired Emir, hunters and traditional security guards and musicians show off their skills. Historians trace the beginning of the long tradition to more than 11 decades ago, during the reign of the Emir of Katsina, King Muhammadu Diko.
I know the Durbar celebration is part of the culture of the house and land, and it's part of one of the things that we do. You know, we go to the mosque, that's on Salah Day, and then the day after we come to the government house for this visit. Yes. So it's very, very significant. It marks a part of our culture, a part of our history, a part of what we are.
And for the indigents, the celebration is a dual-purpose occasion aimed at not only promoting peace and unity among the people, but also to boosting the economy.
You see, these festivities traditionally are meant to boost our economy, infuse cultural diversity and what have you. Go to Brazil, go to countries, Canada, and even the US now is trying to imbibe it. They do this in order to show people the cultural heritage. And when tourists come, even the person selling pure water will make money. It will boost our economy.
Foreign dignitaries in attendance share their impressions about the traditional Durbar festival and the rich cultural heritage of Katsina State.
Very, very impressive, beautiful. It's nice to see a different culture that I have seen before.
This is my 6th time in Katsina, my 2nd time during Daba, and I'm very happy that many of my colleagues joined me here in Katsina to witness the Daba, the rich cultural heritage of Katsina, to see the prosperity that the governor has brought to Katsina, and to enjoy this generosity and the unique hospitality of the Katsina state.
Residents are therefore encouraged to continue to embody the virtues of patience, compassion, and self-discipline cultivated during the holy month of Ramadan.
And that's it on the program for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.